Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about the Goddess of Love Tarot, a book and deck for embodying the erotic divine feminine. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. You can get my free 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year by joining my newsletter list. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life. I am looking for 1 to 2 more guests to be on my podcast before the end of 2025, so if you're interested or know someone that might be a good fit, I'll link the Be a Guest on my podcast form to fill out in the show notes. And if you're local and you want to meet me in person, you can join us for our last full moon circle of 2025 this Sunday, December 7th, where we'll celebrate the full moon with me and my colleague Izzy for an evening of connection, reflection, and ritual. We meet at Thresholds Collective in Tacoma the first Sunday of the month to welcome in the full moon together. So tickets for our December 7th event are up now and are still available to purchase as of this recording. So go ahead and check that out. We would love to see you there. And you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. All right, so welcome to season 19, where I'm talking all about different decks and how to use them. Today I am talking about, it's got a long name, The Goddess of Love Tarot, a book and deck for embodying the erotic divine feminine by Gabriela Herstik and illustrated by Popescu, who's also known as Snakes for Hair if you want to find them on Instagram. So this is a collaboration, right? So we have someone here who was the author of the sort of deck guidebook, and this one I would definitely consider a book. It has every card, astrological correspondences, affirmations, journal questions, and sometimes rituals associated with every card. So it's a lot more like the size of a journal or like short novel, I would say. It's got like over 100 pages in the deck guidebook. It's got quite a long introduction about the deck itself and kind of how it was created, what each is about, how to read the tarot, different spreads, card of the day, 3-card spreads, life, death, rebirth. So they've made some spreads of their own in here, and then some spreads related to the deck itself, and a lot of different things. So it also talks about like different ways to use the tarot deck, like using the cards as a talisman, or practicing sex magic with the cards, or using astrological correspondences of the cards to kind of get to know them, keeping a tarot journal or a grimoire, and a blessing for that. It's a beautiful, the whole deck and book are all printed in pink ink, which is like kind of incredible. It's a Goddess of Love tarot, so it's very Venusian, very like associated with Venus. It has a lot of pink and roses. I think we have a like image of the statue of Venus on the cover here. The back of the deck guidebook says, "May the Goddess of Love bless you and keep you. May she guide you deeper into the mysteries of your heart. May she hold you on your journey in perfect love and perfect trust. And may these cards be keys that you unlock her energy within you." So this whole thing is like its own ritual, I would say. So that is the style of the deck. It is a tarot deck. They do change some things from the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional imagery. So I got this deck. I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. I got this deck online. I've been following Gabriela Herstik, Gabby Herstik on Instagram for a long time. I've been a part of their Patreon before. They sort of revamped their Patreon maybe a year or two ago, and now it's a very like, it's its own coven. They call it Slut Coven, and she runs rituals every month and has guidebooks and all sorts of things. So it's a lot more detailed now, but when I was kind of in her Patreon previously, it was like a couple bucks a month you could participate, and she would kind of run these workshops with her patrons. She's written a bunch of books, so I have the Sacred Sex, I'm sorry, I'm looking for it on my shelf. Sacred Sex, which is one of her more recent books. She also did Bewitching the Elements, and a couple of other books. She's written sort of prolifically, I would say. Done a lot of like articles and different things. Yeah, Inner Witch, Sacred Sex, Goddess Energy, Bewitching the Elements, and Craft. Those are her books. Like I said, you can find her Gabby Herstik on Instagram, or she's got GabrielaHerstik.com is her website, and it is very branded as this deck is. Very pink and red, very goddess of love. Like I said, she has like Sacred Slut Coven now. They're a sex worker and have always been writing about kind of like witchcraft and then more into sex magic more recently. They have a podcast called Love, Lust, and Magic. So there's a lot of their content to consume if you would like to. If you are intrigued by this deck or anything like that. I really love the deck. I've never seen another deck that's like this. I love the style of it. It's very like collage art. It's very brightly colored. It has a lot of like, it uses a lot of like statues that you would see in like a museum as the imagery for the cards. Like I said, it's collage style, so it's sort of like a bunch of images superimposed on each other. And Gabriela Herstik, her own style, like is very collage. When she makes a lot of her workbooks and stuff, that's the way that she does it. So I appreciate that the artist Julia Popescu, or Snakes for Hair on Instagram, and I think they have their own website too, really went with that style. But it's a very like self-love deck, very like divine feminine, right? It's called a book and deck for embodying the erotic divine feminine, and it is very sex magic centered. So right, as I get into like what I like to use it for, anything I wouldn't use it for, I wouldn't use it with people that, like if I'm reading for someone else that are not into that like are not asking about things related to this, or that are going to be like turned off by the idea of sex magic or like the divine feminine. So that's part of it. The imagery of this deck on the back is like pink clouds. It's like a sky kind of with pink clouds. And then we have like a crescent moon in the center, and it's like all pink. The border on the front side of the cards is red. Then we have kind of like white lines on the inside, and then almost all the imagery is like red and pink backgrounds, a lot of roses, like I said, a lot of divine feminine, and all of the cards in here. So some changes from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck are that all of the cards are coded like feminine. So any cards that have kings or the emperor or anything like that, they are all changed to be feminine cards. So for example, so the strength card gets renamed to lust. Let's see. The Hierophant is renamed the Hierodule. The Emperor is renamed to the Sovereign. The Magician is renamed to the Enchantress. And then, like I said, for the instead of knight or page, knight, queen, king, we have maiden, witch, queen, crone. So king is changed to crone, right? Queen remains the same. Knight is changed to witch, and page is changed to maiden. So that's sort of what I mean by they're all renamed to like be feminine characters, I guess, or sort of like the feminine divine version of perhaps the traditional cards. The other thing I really like about this deck is that it uses a lot of so in a lot of tarot, there's like imagery of like Western gods or like Roman and Greek, but like not a lot else. But this deck goes into like Hindu, god, Egyptian, like talks about Isis, and just like a lot of Inanna, Ereshkigal, who's a Sumerian goddess, talks about Mary Magdalene, Lilith, Kali, or Chinamasta. So a lot of gods that maybe aren't normally talked about. Ocean is like the hanged man gets renamed to the hanged one. So you get a much broader idea about the goddesses than like a more, I guess, global view of all goddesses and goddess culture. I was going to see if there was anything that I wanted to share from the front of the deck or the guidebook. It says the tarot is a portal into the esoteric. To enter requires trust, honesty, and vulnerability. Like the goddess, the tarot unfolds at your truest intention to meet the situation at hand. This deck is also a gateway to the temple of the goddess of love and sex. This temple may exist in sacred spaces around the world, but the only one you need is the most sacred one of all, your heart. Work with this deck for all matters of lust and love, romance and pleasure are where the goddess resides, so you can use it to explore many things. This deck can be a conduit to the divine erotic, the living force of sexuality that permeates the universe. So yeah, I guess again, if what we like to use it for or anything I wouldn't use it for, right? I would like to use it for things that are related to the feminine divine or relationships or self, like relationship to self, like love against sex, lust, kind of anything related to that. And I wouldn't be using it for, again, anyone that's going to kind of be like triggered by that language perhaps, or maybe like has sexual trauma. I don't know exactly how I would know this necessarily if I'm doing a reading for someone that I don't know very well, but a lot of the times as a tarot reader, I will have many decks out and I will sort of have people pick a deck that speaks to them. So one way to, right, allow people to kind of like self-select a deck that appeals to them more or that they're going to be open to is by literally doing it off of like the cover of the box or the vibe. Yeah, again, I like this deck for if you're going to try to like work with sex magic, or you're asking questions about love or lust or like self-love as well, because I think this deck is really about that too, and has a lot of roses on it, which are very like love and also like protection, right? Vulnerability and boundaries, kind of this like dichotomy, which I really enjoy. So yeah, again, if there was someone that like, this was not my first choice of a deck to use when I was giving my dad a tarot reading, for example, that would be like one reason I might not use it. Again, like I might allow someone to choose from like a couple decks, or, you know, two at least, to kind of allow them to pick what works for them or kind of the vibe. And people can sometimes just get that from like judging a book by its cover, right? Like the boxes all have covers on them. And so that kind of helps as well. But yeah, I really love this deck. I love all the like sort of changes from the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional stuff, because it gets rid of, for me, a lot of the ick around some of the cards and how they are coded as like masculine, authoritative, that all of those things kind of get lumped together. And sometimes like again, a triggering way, or for anyone that has trauma, like can be challenging. So yeah, I love this deck. It is also very well used. This box, actually, it's been through a lot. It has like an inset in the box to kind of hold the deck more closely, which I appreciate. The deck or the guidebook, that's quite long. Like I said, it's over 100 pages, fits in the box. The box is larger. It's like maybe double the size of a lot of tarot boxes. It's like taller vertically. It's like I said, it's more like the size of a novel. But it has held up pretty well, although it has like a lot of dents and stuff in it. It's still got all its color on it and is protecting my cards. So I keep all my cards in their boxes, or at least like I try to, because I really like the imagery of the boxes as well, versus just having them in like protective bags. But let's go ahead and pull a card to see what message this deck has for us today. I pulled the Empress, Venus herself. All right, I love this card. It's like a very like mermaid kind of looking card. So we pulled the Empress here, like I said, associated with Venus, the goddess, and the planet. The Empress is effortlessly aligned with the promise of the heart and of pleasure. As Venus, the Roman goddess of sex, love, lust, glamour, victory, and desire, the Empress isn't just an expression of the goddess of love. She is the goddess of love. Venus sings of pleasure as sustenance, of desire as guiding force, and of beauty as the language of the divine. The Empress comes up during the fertile moments when the desires and experiences you seek are at the edge of manifestation. This is a time of inner transformation and the joys that come with bringing something into the world, whether this is a creative project, a relationship, a child, or a new way of practicing magic. When the Empress appears, remember to indulge yourself in whatever desires you to the Venusian current. Drape yourself in delicious fabrics, kiss slowly, bask in nature, buy yourself flowers, or move your body as you breathe and make sounds. The Empress asks that you tap into the pleasure all around. And then there are affirmations, journal questions, a ritual here. So I guess I would say maybe the only other time I wouldn't use it is if someone's like trying to get a quick reading. Like you can, of course, like I didn't even read everything that's in the description here and didn't go through the affirmation or question or ritual. But it's you could have just this deck and that could be like your whole magical practice, to be honest. Like pulling from it every day, you could do the rituals, you can learn about the goddesses, you can have affirmations for the week or journal questions, right? Like this is a very comprehensive deck and kind of like experience of Gabriela Herstik as a witch and like what her beliefs and kind of like I was gonna say program is, that sounds very weird, but like her ideology or like how she likes to explain things. So I do appreciate that. It's like you can get a lot from this. And the imagery alone, I guess, like also has a lot of symbols on it. Like we have dolphins, we have the ocean on here, we have the Venus symbol, we have Venus, the like statue, we have cupids and pink brightly colored trees and flowers. Like there's a lot on these cards, so they also provide a lot of like kind of symbolism and imagery. But all right, so links for the tarot decks will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.